and I will tell you how. I'm saying this name of the square, Infant Olympique. Yes, I'm saying a lot of words left deconstructed. Infant is not like an infant in English. It stands for a man from the infantry. So he was a military man and also a clergyman. Then Dom, so already know he was king, correct. And King, which is just our way of saying Henry. So, Henry the Navigator, have you heard about him? Henry the Navigator was the man that actually began what at the time was very much considered like exploring the world, and now we know was a lot of colonization. So at the time, what he did, he was a very intelligent man. He decided to create noblemen and teach them how to read and design maps. Second goal, he would take the prisoners from the prisons and make them be the crews of the boats. So we had these two types of teachings being done, and if we consider our country a rectangle, more or less, in this bottom part you have Sagres, a place that is so windy that actually could harbor a school of navigation. So they teach them all of that and decided to do the first exploration. The first exploration was just going south directly into the north of Africa. So our first colony was named Ceuta. Then we went all around, we went to Angola, and then decided to go below what we now know to be Africa and South Africa. And it was very difficult. It proved to be very difficult because the currents of the sea still to this day are very difficult below South Africa. First time we tried it, we failed. Second time we failed again, and then very dramatically we named it Cable of Torments. And then third time was a charm. We crossed below South Africa and renamed it Cable of Good Hope. Of course, still is Cable of Good Hope in South Africa. So we went below and then to the other side, and the other side was Mozambique. This kind of proved to be difficult with English, just because I don't know if you remember the history, the pink map. And in the pink map, Portugal had Angola and Mozambique, and the land between was from the English. So we had a few ultimatums going on, but now we are the oldest allied ship in the world. It's fine, everything is fine. But then we went all around. I'm saying this very quickly. It took years and years. And then we went to India. We had 3 places there: Goa, Daman, and Diu, and then Macau. So we were quite first in the world. We had a lot of colonies spread out in a lot of the globe. But there was a lot of navigators that when they went all around to cross below South Africa, they saw land to the other side of the world. They said to this man, the man that is in the statue right there, Infant Olympique, they told him that there was land to the other side, and in the diplomacy meetings of the time that were mainly consistent of this now is yours, please don't invade us. It was kind of this. He said nothing about this type of discovery. And 2 years posthumously, so after his death, we discovered Brazil. Brazil was our biggest colony and one of those that we took so much from. Really, truly. Most of our wood came from Brazil. Most of the we had a lot of spices from India already, but a lot of pigments. We took a lot from them, and also it was one of the places that we started the trade of people, actual people. I don't know if you know this. I have to admit, Portugal started the trade of slavery and of slaves, in the slavery period, and we were the last to do it as well. Not a good part of our history at all. Still to this day in Africa, there's places, structures in little arches in stone. They are called portals of no return, and those were the structures that were constructed by Portuguese people to harbor the boats while people would get people to put into the boats. To this day, in those places, it's not a tradition to get near the water because a lot of people believed they would not return if they were near. So the generational trauma is still going on. Sorry. Yeah. So a lot of that was done in that period, and most of the structure that led to this was created by this man, Infanto Henrique. So, mainly, he's seen there just pointing to the waters, pointing to the sea. But truly, if you paid attention, you know that's the river. If he was actually pointing to the sea, he would be like this. So, a lot of people believe he's actually pointing in the exact coordinates of Brazil, and he's hiding the globe behind his legs. So he knew something that all others didn't. Around him and around this statue, we have a lot of very important buildings. I will mention only two because they are really the most important, and the two are the one that has a lot of work being done, and this one. So I'll start with this one. Commercial Association of Porto. Commercial Association of Porto was our original stock exchange. When I say stock exchange, you might think of money, Wall Street, all of that. This was actual stock. So livestock even, or any materials, because on the other side the building goes directly to the river. The boats would come in, leave the stock inside of the building. In the building there would be trade, and then they would give back the money and make money from the money. So yes, it was the beginning of the stock exchange in Porto. But who's the biggest enemy of people that work with a lot of money? Usually the people that created the taxes. So they did not have a good relationship with the church. So at one point, the relationship was so bad that they were making a lot of different trades to go around the taxes, that the church decided to stop bearing and marrying. And those were only services that were done by the church, at the time, at least. So what they decided to do was really funny. Franciscans came to Porto, and Franciscans have a particular difference from other Catholic people. They take the vow of poverty. Poverty saying they renounce to any richness and their own means. Catholics in Porto were not from that order and were not loving that vow. They lived in very, very comfortable places with a lot of luxury. So they didn't like that at all, so they didn't give any plot for the construction of a Franciscan church. Enter the Commercial Association of Porto. They said, oh, we'll give you a plot, we'll give you the church, we'll build the church as long as you marry, bury us, keep our bones. Truly they did that. So below the church you have a whole lot of bones. And the Franciscans were very happy with this deal. So even though Franciscans have the vow of poverty, that is one of the richest churches you can ever see, because the Commercial Association of Porto kind of filled the place with 300 kilograms of gold dust. It's very golden, very beautiful, and still to this day has something that annoys Catholic Church a lot. So it has a physical representation, a structure of the genealogical tree of Joseph. Vatican right now doesn't like that much, because if you are very worried with the ascendance of Jesus, it was not the Earth Father that supposedly didn't have any biology connected. So why did you want to know anything about the genealogy of Joseph? There's right now only two representations of that. One is here, one in a church in Holland. Yeah, so those are the main things and main history of the square. So we are continuing going up and directly to Flower Street. The only thing was that we had the same king for a period of time. There, Philip, were all named Philip. The Philip II of Spain was Philip I of Portugal, and so on and so on. So we had three Philips. We call it the Philippine dynasty, was the third dynasty. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm gonna see the actual year, because I always talk in centuries and I'm always afraid I'm gonna actually say the wrong year.